Jan was disappointed, having applied for the grade school secretarial position and not being accepted. Judy Rocket from Hartner receiving the school principal, Juanita Smith's approval. Gary was cognizant of a possible partiality implications. Mrs. Smith, a longtime resident of Hartner, a community of less than 175, and in all likelihood, friends of Judy and her husband Gary. His wife Jan, still convivial with her employment at the Bank of Kiowa, disappointed, but accepting the school abnegation. Her position as a bank teller still remained a comfortable appointment. The Main Street School lawn mowing application was in progress when Judy Rocket approached with a discerning expression on her face, stating Gary's presence was required in Mrs. Albright's room. Upon arrival, finding the classroom vacated by the students, custodian Pam Cooper standing at the entrance, Gary questioning her why he was summoned, his co-worker remaining at the door, refusing to enter the premises. Gary entering, looking about, discovering an immediate answer, the remains of a student's breakfast, the discharge decorating a desk and the surrounding area of the floor. Pam giving him a stifling look, her posture stiffening, and with a declarative voice, "I don't do vomit," abruptly turning away, leaving Gary to provide for the room's disparages culmination. Gary shrugging, setting about the task, concluding he had inherited a new juridical responsibility, coming up with a job description title, Jurisdictional Exemplary for the Hygienic Ascendancy of Vomit. Not exactly a fragrance-enhancing position, but one of caliber, especially the first 2 weeks of the school year, when the lower grade classes are most likely to propagate the unsightly discharge. The theatrical study program of Northwestern State College at Alva extending an invitation to the surrounding community elementary schools to attend their musical adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. V. Hill, and Jane Thompson's first grade, Norma Feaster, and Jeannie Albright's second grade all enthusiastic for the presentation. The morning of the event found Gary and Pam addressing the high school, each retrieving a respective Bluebird 40-passenger bus to be stationed on 9th Street, adjacent to the school gym's west door to await the students. Gary was designated to provide for Mrs. Hill and Thompson's first grade class, the students filing out of the gym single file into the waiting transports, the two teachers reminding the student as they entered, they could talk but hold it down. The bus journeying south, crossing of the Santa Fe tracks and the Oklahoma state line. Gary accomplishing a 55 miles per hour momentum, noticing Pam's trailing bus falling further and further behind, a curiosity beginning. Could she be experiencing some type of trouble? Encompassing the two-way radio's microphone, Gary attempting to communicate with Pam concerning her possible hindrance, a brief silence, then Pam's voice finally responding. Gary asking if there was a problem. Pam's immediate reply, "The bus won't go over 40 miles per hour." Gary questioned if she had the bus in 4th gear. She replied, "Affirmative." Asking if she had engaged the 2-speed axle. The silence was deafening, then a reply. "What's that?" Trying not to sound contemptuous, he explained, if she would commission the clutch and pull the small protruding lever connected to the gear shift to an upward position, it would switch the 2-speed axle to high, and the bus's speed would increase. Jane Thompson, whom was sitting across from Gary, sporting a grin on her face, having overheard the conversation. Jane having accompanied her husband Monty, the middle school football coach and the team's bus driver on out-of-town games. Her expression acknowledging Pam's lack of bus driving experience. Arriving at the college, finding the parking area according several buses from outlying areas. The musical production being performed in Harrod Hall, a landmark auditorium on the campus. The grade school students again in their perfection, lining up to enter, Gary questioning Pam about attending the performance. Her answer was negative, she preferred to remain with the bus. Gary joining the class as they began to enter, his daughter Sandy among Mrs. Feaster's second graders. Standing at the door waiting for the class to finish filing past, an unexpected visitor, the school principal, Juanita Smith. Gary's curiosity was aroused, wondering who covered her English class. Juanita acknowledging, Bev Moles, the Chapter 1 reading instructor, was substituting in her absence. The program commencing, Gary seated with Juanita, both enjoying the musical production. His attendance a rewarding benefit of his school employment. But a second benefit was more lasting. The joy reflected in the smiling faces of the students.